Sunday. It's Angela the Snake Merkel versus Don Mongoose Trump in the White House in their nitro-burning funny war. I think I just blew my microphone out. Hi, everybody. It's Bill Whittle here for the gang at Right Angle. And this is your newer, looser, swinging in or kind of happening or more Right Angle. We spent some time with Stephen Scott. I did, live. And things go a lot better when they go a lot quicker. So we're going to try and move things around a little bit. And so we've ditched the coats and ties so that, we could get a little loose. Okay, boys. So guess what? Angela Merkel, the whatever she is of Germany, she's not Chancellor. Chancellor. Yeah. My goodness. Okay, Chancellor of Germany goes to visit the White House and sits with Donald Trump, and the looks on her face, which hopefully we can include right now for you to see, are just absolutely mesmerizing. She not only looks confused, she looks astonished. She looks like she's been dumped into a tank of reptiles or something. I mean, she doesn't know where she is. Scotty, I mean, you've seen those pictures, right? I mean, that woman looks lost.
Well, I mean, it is the White House. And so I've been at the White House, and I felt a little lost when I was there, too, especially when the toilet tank didn't function properly. But everybody was really nice there other than that. Angela Merkel, I think, probably has the same reaction on sort of a low level that anybody in Donald Trump's presence must. Because unlike, like a lot of politicians and powerful people, Donald Trump, when he steps into a room, just sort of sucks the oxygen out. All attention, all eyes have to be on him. And it almost doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to make an impression. You can't possibly compete with that show.
Yeah, but she's a world leader. I mean, she's somebody who's been
a world leader, Bill. It's Germany. It's Germany. It's not like a country. It's only half the country it used to be.
Isn't that Europe? In Europe someplace? No, seriously, though. I mean, this woman's seen some tough things, though, Scotty, and certainly. I don't think it was Donald Trump that threw her off so much. Well, obviously, it was Donald Trump, but I don't think it was Donald Trump's speech or anything like that. I think that Angela Merkel could not believe that the American people could elect this guy, which takes me to the point I'm trying to make here, and that is that Donald Trump and Angela Merkel. It's the clash of the globalists versus the revived nationalists, right?
Well, that's what the paradigm has changed right in the midstream. I mean, this woman, think about it. I mean, even though it's only Germany that she's been chancellor of, still she's been there for a long time. And suddenly, after we're going to get all kinds of emails from our German viewers.
It's like the third biggest economy. It's like the third biggest economy in the world, isn't it? Or something.
It's probably not even as big as California.
Fourth. It's fourth behind us, China and Japan.
And California. Okay. So, I think she's been there a long time. I know it's only 7. But anyway, she's been there a long time. And the world order has been a comfortable one for her. She is kind of one of the big muckety mucks. And she's the one who determines that, we're all going to work together in this big European Union confab. And we're going to try to pretend that sort of we're, constitutional governance light. And we're going to have our way. And Donald Trump has basically come in and saying, not only don't I really know how everything's been working all this time, but I don't much care for it, and we're going to do things the way I like.
She looked like she had an expression on her face like, we are muckety mucked. I mean, she really did. She just looked like she was lost. Didn't you think so, Steve? She struck you as...
Yeah, she reminded me, I guess, a little of Colonel Klink when Hogan got up to one of his antics.
Oh my God! I just thought she looked like a woman that got on the wrong train,
Yeah.
And she's just looking around like, where this isn't.
And trying not to look that way,
Yeah, that's right.
When the cat falls off the mantle and does one of these. I meant to do that.
Let me just say, my proud heritage here as a man with the last name Ott, the krautophobia in this episode is disgusting.
No,
look, I've got von Hoffmans in my family. It's all Austrian and German and all that stuff. But listen, here's the thing. I had such high hopes for Merkel 10, 12 years ago when she entered the scene because she was raised in East Germany, communist East Germany. She was suspicious of state power. She had a real understanding of what it meant for your country to be dominated by a foreign power. And I thought, wow, if anybody is going to breathe some freedom into the German economy, if anybody is going to be suspicious of Brussels and the European Union, it's going to be Angela Merkel. And wow, have I been wrong. I look like her when I think about her.
But she did all of that. And then suddenly she just pivoted, right? I mean, there was this
it was a refugee thing. It was a refugee thing, and there's a lot of because there's a lot of German guilt. and there should be. But
That's
there's
a
a
good
point where you've got to say, look, we did some really nasty stuff in our history, and we're sorry, and we make amends for that every day. But that doesn't mean we have to commit national suicide over it.
Well, and I think it's much like
80 years later.
Like
They think it does.
the old Al Franken routine on Saturday Night Live, back when Al Franken used to be a comedian instead of somebody we just laugh at. Al Franken used to do this whole bit where he would say, I used to be opposed to the military draft, but then I turned 26 years old, and like most questions I ask, how does this affect me, Al Franken? And I think it's the same way.
Bit.
I think it's the same way with Angela Merkel. It's like I was opposed to the concentration of power in one, government, in one massive government. But then the reins of power were handed to me, Angela Merkel. And now I think power is not such a bad thing if you use it for good purposes.
Okay, so obviously this is like the collision between nationalism, a resurgent nationalism, and a globalism. I mean, obviously Obama was all on board the globalist agenda, and so was Hillary, and smooth sailing to the horizon. And that has run into some snags with Brexit and with the election of Donald Trump. But which actually kind of raises a bigger question, I think, maybe. And that is, I agree with you, Scotty. When you listen, I actually heard a German minister say we have to allow all these refugees into our country because of our background, because of our history. And my question is, at what point does that become history? In other words, I don't feel guilty for slavery. Slavery was horrible, but I don't own any slaves, and neither did my great-great-great-great-grandparents. And even if they had, it wouldn't matter. Even if it was my dad, it's not me. So this collective guilt that's been that Germany has recognized, Japan not so much, but that Germany has recognized. What point is it extirpated?
Well, you can't have
something like that.
You can't have open borders in a welfare state. I mean, that comes to and it's funny because we as conservatives and Republicans and even sort of constitutionalists tend to only take half of that argument. We'll pay lip service to the idea of you can't have open borders in a welfare state, and then the next thing out of our mouths would be therefore close the borders. My answer is, therefore, end the welfare state.
Yeah, that's right.
I like Scott's answer better.
But you need open borders for a welfare state, Scotty. If you don't have
then you have no
flood,
power base.
If you don't have a flood of new people coming in on the bottom, then the Ponzi scheme of socialism doesn't work. The problem is that the new people on the bottom are not contributing to the social programs. They're sucking them out faster than the people that have been paying into them for 70 years.
Well, and in most immigration schemes, you're also getting a lot of working people, and frankly, countries with low birth rates. I say that as a man who weighed 9 pounds 13 ounces at birth.
Your poor mom.
Which is why my mother named me Scott Odd. It was like, I'll get you. But anyway, the countries with low birth rates have a GDP problem. They have a productivity problem because they do need workers, and those workers can't be supplied by the birth rate within the country, and so they do need immigrants.
Yeah. Stevie, let's just close with you. What do you think? Do you think the Germans have a chance to survive this? Not the meeting with Trump, because I suspect that Merkel's going to get some, she's going to get some IV fluids and some time in bed and rest, and she'll probably be okay. Yeah. But this decision they've made, this immigration decision, it was only like 2 days ago that I realized that maybe what Merkel's trying to do with all of these immigrants is in fact to reduce German nationalism. Maybe she's trying to make the idea of Germany as a nation obsolete so that they can meld into this world government. And maybe that'll finally.
Well, you can't really do that. We should be wary of this word nationalism. There are really two kinds of it, and there's one for America and there's one for the rest of the world. American nationalism has typically been inward-looking. How do we improve things here at home? And that's a much more benign form of nationalism.
Yeah, like a patriotism.
Yeah, European nationalism tends to be let's annex the Sudetenland. It's much more it's jackbooted nationalism essentially. It looks outside. Maybe it's because their countries are so small, but I think the real reason is their countries are defined not by an idea, but by blood and soil.
Blood and soil, boy.
Yeah, this is our folk, and this is our land, and in order to have more folk, we've got to have more land. So look out, Poland. Here we come. And if if Europe can't be based on ideas, which is kind of what they try to do with the European Union, and it's not working, then you've got the specter of European nationalism, and oh boy, we've gone through that twice in the 20th century, and I don't want to have to go through it again in the 21st.
No, I hear
But
you.
if Europe collapses under the weight of immigration, then see, it's a catch-22. They've really screwed themselves.
I'd just like to say to our German friends out there in politics, if you'd like to come and annex the Santa Monica land, then you're more than welcome to. It will not be anything like the challenge you may be used to. No, I think that's exactly right, and I do get to the point when I wonder at what point will the Germans be able to honestly say, put it behind them. My feeling is, if the daughter of Heinrich Himmler, she's as innocent as anybody else's daughter, right? I mean, she didn't do anything. In any event, you look at those pictures of Angela Merkel and you see somebody who looks absolutely surprised and astonished. I get the feeling Hillary Clinton looked like that on election night, only
drunker than a German chancellor. Is
much drunker.
Drunker. Yes, I knew it.
Yeah, here we go. Anyway, for the she was lit, all right. All right, boys. Well, it's good talking to you. We will be back with My Right Angle has to deal with immigration this week. Thanks again for our members that make all of this possible, and we'll see you next time.